The sound of my heartbeat drowned out the wedding hall's chatter as I stared at the grand piano. Its polished surface reflected the horror on my face. Moments earlier, my brother's bride had leaned in close, her breath hot against my ear, her voice a silken threat. "To be honest, I have a real boyfriend besides Robert." She pulled back with a triumphant smile. "Now go embarrass yourself in front of everyone. If you refuse, I'll cry to Daddy. The marriage will be annulled and your precious brother loses his job. Your choice." My fingers trembled against the piano's cold keys as 300 wedding guests watched in confused silence. The pianist who never mentioned she could play, the high school graduate being publicly humiliated by the music college bride, the sister about to ruin her brother's wedding, except Grace had miscalculated, catastrophically. "My name is Olivia Parker. I'm 32 and a wedding venue coordinator. This is the story of how I turned a public humiliation into the sweetest revenge ever played." I'd spent months enduring Grace's private cruelty while planning my brother's wedding. "You don't resemble Robert at all. He's actually attractive," she'd say with a practiced smile whenever we were alone. "If you have time to help others get married, why don't you worry about yourself? Oh, wait, you're just a high school graduate with no manners because you were raised by a single mother. No wonder you can't find a partner." Each barb delivered with such precision that explaining it to Robert would sound like petty jealousy. Each insult carefully hidden behind closed doors, each interaction leaving me questioning whether I was overreacting. The wedding hall had been transformed for their ceremony, crystal chandeliers catching light above tables dressed in white silk. Floral arrangements worth more than my monthly rent perfuming the air. As both the groom's sister and a staff member at the venue, I'd worked overnight to ensure everything was perfect, despite Grace's constant interference. My brother deserved this perfect day. After our mother died suddenly during my first year at music college, I'd abandoned my scholarship and returned home to raise him. Robert never knew the full extent of what I'd given up. I never wanted him to feel like a burden. He'd earned his way through school on scholarship, landing a position at her father's company where they met. Her father, the executive who could destroy my brother's career with a single phone call. Just 3 hours earlier, I'd been in the bridal suite applying my makeup when 2 of Grace's friends entered. Their voices carried across the room. "You know Grace is dating another guy, right?" One adjusted her bridesmaid dress in the mirror. "I've heard he's from that nightclub. She said she's only getting married today to keep up appearances," the other replied. "I feel sorry for the groom. He has no idea." My mascara brush froze mid-air, the confirmation of what I'd suspected but couldn't prove. Now, sitting at the piano Grace had demanded I play, a last-minute addition she'd sprung on me to maximize my humiliation, I felt something shift inside me. The trembling in my hands wasn't fear, it was rage. "Maybe it's too much to ask of someone who only graduated high school," Grace announced loudly, her voice carrying across the now silent hall. "Perhaps she's never even touched a piano." A staff member approached, concern etching her features. "Are you feeling all right?" But my brother's voice cut through the murmurs. "Don't you know my sister?" The question hung in the air for one perfect moment before I placed my fingers on the keys. The opening notes of Dream of Love silenced the hall. Not the stumbling attempt Grace expected, but the confident performance of someone who'd mastered this piece 2 decades ago. My shoulders relaxed as muscle memory took over, each note flowing into the next with effortless precision. When the final chord faded, the audience erupted in applause. My co-workers, who'd never known about my past, dabbed at tears. But it was Grace's face that I focused on. The shock, the confusion, the dawning horror as her public humiliation backfired spectacularly. "You were nervous and trembling earlier. How could you play so well?" she demanded, her voice barely audible over the continued applause. "I didn't tell you," I said, my voice carrying across the suddenly silent room. "But I studied at Eastman School of Music. I wasn't trembling from nervousness. I was quivering with excitement to play for the first time in years." Grace staggered backward. "That's the college I wanted to attend but couldn't. How could someone like you from a single-mother family attend?" "I had people who believed in me," I replied simply. When my mother died, I left school to come home and support my brother through high school. I never mentioned my piano background because I didn't want to overshadow you." One of Grace's friends stepped forward, recognition dawning on her face. "Is she by chance Olivia Garcia?" she asked, using my name before my parents divorced. Grace froze. "Are you the Olivia Garcia who won all the awards? The one who always stood in front of you at every competition?" I finished for her. "Yes, that's right. We competed in the same youth piano circuit for years. I'm surprised you didn't recognize me until now." The wedding MC approached, offering me the microphone. "That was a wonderful performance. Would you like to say something?" I took a deep breath, my finger already pressing the playback button on my phone. "Please listen, everyone. Grace is having an affair." The gasps echoed through the hall. Grace's parents turned ashen. "No, that's not true. She's talking nonsense." Grace's desperate denials cut short as I connected my phone to the speaker system. "To be honest, I have another boyfriend. I only married him because my parents were too annoying." Her own voice, crystal clear, filled the hall, captured when she'd threatened me at the piano minutes earlier. I'd learned long ago to document everything. Grace's father rose from his seat, face contorted with rage. "You disgraceful brat!" His public condemnation echoed through the silent hall. "You are no longer my daughter." Robert stepped forward, his voice steady despite the shock. "How dare you deceive me? I'm not marrying you." He turned to me, his expression softening. "Liv, I'm so sorry." Grace collapsed to her knees, mascara streaming down her face. "Please, please reconsider." But her pleas were directed at her father, not my brother. Even now, she thought only of herself. "You've been insulting me for months, and now you expect forgiveness?" I kept my voice level. "You take far too many things for granted." "How will I live if Papa and Robert abandon me?" Her voice cracked. "The man I'm seeing is a spendthrift. I can't live on his money alone." "I don't care about your life," I replied. "I'm not going to forgive you." Only then did she bow her head. "I apologize for everything I've done. I'm sorry." The words, hollow. Too late. "I feel nothing for you," I stated, each word precise. "You insulted me for graduating high school and trampled on my brother's heart. Never show your face in front of us again." Grace's relatives escorted her sobbing from the hall as her parents apologized to the stunned guests. The wedding was canceled. The carefully arranged flowers and untouched champagne became a monument to her deception. Later, when the hall emptied, Robert found me putting away the decorations. "I'm sorry I fell for someone like that," he said quietly. "You tried to warn me, didn't you?" "It doesn't matter now," I replied. "Are you going to be okay?" "I need time, but I'll get back on my feet." He smiled, a small but genuine expression. "You know, I never told her about your piano playing. I thought it was your story to tell when you were ready." "Thank you for that," I said, squeezing his hand. "By the way, I already called the courthouse. Since you two hadn't signed the marriage certificate yet, there's no need for an annulment. Legally, this never happened." In the months that followed, Grace's carefully constructed life collapsed entirely. Her parents cut her off financially, forcing her to leave their home. The private piano students she'd taught disappeared when they learned of the scandal. The boyfriend dumped her once he realized there was no more money coming. And the prestigious music college graduate found herself struggling with part-time jobs she was ill-equipped to handle. Robert threw himself into his work, earning a promotion within months, and I finally accepted the wedding hall owner's repeated offers to perform at ceremonies. My calendar filled with bookings, my fingers reacquainting themselves with the ivory keys I'd abandoned 14 years earlier, when I was just 18. I continued coordinating weddings during weekdays while performing on weekends, balancing both careers that brought me different kinds of joy. Sometimes when I play at weddings now, I remember that moment of revelation. The bride who thought she knew everything about me, discovering just how catastrophically wrong she was. I play for the genuine couples, the ones whose eyes shine with real love rather than calculation. And in every perfect note, In every flawless performance, there's a reminder that sometimes revenge is best served not cold, but in perfect pitch,